does have a very nice figure. I've said that if Ivanka weren't my daughter, perhaps I'd be dating her.
Nearly 5'11", with campaigns for Sassoon, Terry Mugler, MTM, and a cover for 17 magazine, 16-year-old Ivanka Trump is in high gear.
It's a shock. You stumble upon yourself. Oh.
Ivanka, what's the favorite thing you have in common with your father?
Either real estate or golf.
Donald, with your daughter?
Well, I was going to say sex, but I can't relate that.
So Ivanka Trump just got exposed for selling herself at Epstein parties. The latest Epstein dump leaked footage and pictures of her walking the runway and flaunting her figure for the elite. Turns out Ivanka was deeply involved in the Epstein empire. Even her real estate brokers were messing around at those parties.
And their brothers were convicted on all counts of executing crimes. Miss Massey posted reminding everyone that the Alexander brothers appeared in the Epstein files by first name, and he noticed that the DOJ redacted their last name in an FBI file.
It all started with the Epstein files mentioning Ivanka Trump. Someone forwarded Epstein a New York Post article with the subject line, "Adult star. Trump said I reminded him of Ivanka after intimacy." And then the DOJ files revealed that Ivanka Trump's name appears in Jeffrey Epstein's Black Book of Contacts with redacted info. And well, that had fans wondering, did Trump force Ivanka into his world? Unfortunately, the answer turned out to be yes. Fans dug up proof of Donald taking a young Ivanka to the Look of the Year beauty pageant, where he ran it with the owner of NY Paris Elite Models Management Casablancas. Mind you, the contestants at these events were teen girls who were mostly asked to entertain the elite behind closed doors. One contestant, who was 15 at the time, remembered being asked to walk for Trump, Casablancas, and other men on the boat in September 1992. She says an organizer told her that if she refused, she would be excluded from the competition. I knew in my gut it wasn't right. This wasn't being judged or part of the competition. It was for their entertainment. To think that's what Donald was exposing Ivanka to. And then there's also the fact that Ivanka's own father doesn't see her as his daughter, but as an adult star.
She does have a very nice figure. I've said that if Ivanka weren't my daughter, perhaps I'd be dating her.
He has repeatedly made inappropriate comments about her.
Ivanka, what's the favorite thing you have in common with your father?
Either real estate or golf.
Donald, with your daughter?
Well, I was going to say sex, but I can't relate that.
Worst of all, he isn't even ashamed of it.
I weren't happily married, and, you know, her father.
My daughter,
is.
Ivanka.
Yeah.
She's 6 feet tall. She's got the best body.
By the way, your daughter.
She's beautiful.
Can I say this? A piece of ass.
Yeah.
She looks more voluptuous than ever.
She's actually always been very voluptuous.
It's
She's tall,
unbelievable.
she's almost 6 feet.
Going up the escalator? I'm going to be dating her in 10 years.
And that has people convinced that Trump's actually the one who got Ivanka into the business of selling herself. In fact, according to one source, that's exactly what he did by sending teenage Ivanka straight to John Casablancas, Elite Models founder, the man accused of mistreating 15-year-olds. And no, that's not a stretch because there are actual pictures proving that a young Ivanka was working for John.
Nearly 5'11", with campaigns for Sassoon, Terry Mugler, MTM, and a cover for 17 magazine, 16-year-old Ivanka Trump is in high gear.
It's a shock. You stumble upon yourself. Oh.
What's crazy is that there was no need for Ivanka to step out of the house that young and find a job.
I don't need to model. My family has money and they can support me, but I model because I love to model. And it's something that I enjoy doing. So I don't think it's fair that they made me sound greedy about it and all because I model because I love to model. And that's really all there is to it.
Sure, she said she was doing it for the love of the game, but fans suspect that Ivanka actually stepped in the industry to sell herself. Up until now, that had only been an assumption. But the recent Epstein files proved fans right. Leaked footage shows Ivanka selling herself to the elite at Epstein's parties. In fact, she was doing it at the same parties where her father was present along with Epstein.
Of a Mar-a-Lago party shows Trump giving Epstein his personal attention.
Donald! Donald! Donald!
The footage, shot in November of 1992, before Trump opened the resort as a club, shows the future president surrounded by cheerleaders for the Buffalo Bills and Miami Dolphins.
Apparently, that's where Ivanka found her real estate brokers as well. Tal, Orrin, and Elon Alexander. Tal and Orrin ended up on people's radar after they made a bunch of flashy sales in New York and Miami along with their third brother. They worked for property giant Douglas Elliman and listed homes for celebrities including Liam Gallagher, Lindsay Lohan, Kim Kardashian, and Kanye West. In 2022, they founded their own New York-based firm called Official.
First, to give you a little bit of background on the Alexander brothers. They're huge in realty, and I'm talking about multi-million-dollar realty, so they have a lot of celebrity connections all over the place.
But those days are long behind him. These days, they're trying on orange jumpsuits since they've been convicted in a case. They've been accused of using money to lure young women to parties and fancy homes and then taking advantage of them.
They took a couple sips of their drink and then their body kind of became loose. They couldn't really feel it. And then they really didn't remember much. And as I said, these women, they are going into a lot of detail here.
A total of 11 victims testified during the trial.
Yeah, Tom, this trial going on for more than a month, and the allegations from these 11 accusers we heard from, they were hard to listen to.
Of course, their attorneys argued that it was all consensual. Mark Agnifilo, a lawyer for Oren Alexander, and the same man who represented Diddy, said they're not they're not them, but they're certainly pursuing them.
The coercion really is the drugs. So that's going to be completely up to the jury. And obviously it's always up to the jury, but it's going to be up to the jury if they believe the women.
But in the end, the prosecution was able to make its case, and the brothers were found guilty on all 10 criminal counts. U.S. Attorney Jay Clayton, whose office in the Southern District of New York prosecuted the case, said, "This verdict cannot undo the effects of heinous abuse the Alexanders' many victims endured, but it does send a message. New Yorkers want to bring an end to sex in all our communities." What's concerning is that the brothers were mentioned in the Epstein files.
The Alexander brothers were referenced in the Epstein files 2 different times, which caused this whole debacle in their federal case. This email right here was one of the biggest deals that came out of the Epstein files involving the Alexander brothers. And the problem with this email right here that was in the Epstein files, when the DOJ uploaded this document, they did not redact the name of an alleged victim of the Alexander brothers, which we've seen the DOJ do when it comes to a lot of Epstein victims.
An FBI internal document reads, "At one of the parties, 2 twin brothers, Alan and Oren, who were involved in real estate, lured and her friend upstairs and locked the door. Knocked the door back open and the 2 ran back downstairs. The brothers then proceeded to mistreat the girls. The details of the incident are actually horrifying. The messiest part? According to one source, the FBI got a report that Oren and Tal Alexander had girls as young as 14 at Epstein's place. They did nothing with it. Then in 2021, Ivanka and Jared Kushner hired the same brothers as their realtors to buy a mansion in Florida. In fact, some fans think Ivanka actually connected with the brothers at one of Epstein's parties. And that says a lot about Ivanka's priorities. At the end of the day, it's clear Ivanka has blood on her hands. Sure, the Epstein files don't expose any direct wrongdoing, but where there's smoke, there's fire. The only question is, when are the authorities going to officially look into the case? And is the next batch of Epstein files going to expose Ivanka for good?